And now, live from the 2015 Vancouver International Wine Festival, Anthony Gismondi and Casey Wilson. This is Tony and Casey's Best of Food and Wine on CIL 650.
Welcome back to the Best of Food and Wine. We are live. You can tell by that. We're really live. Hey, this is going to be a great segment. It's too short already. I know it's going to be too short. I really want to welcome to the stage leighFrancis, Chief Sensory Scientist and CosSimos Group Manager and former winemaker. That's a good thing to be known as, eh? Former winemaker from the Australian Wine Research Institute. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
It's great to be here.
Is this
Thank you.
your first time for both of you?
We're going to turn that mic on. It should be good now, eh? First time here?
First time here.
Yeah. Can you guys just quit your job and move to British Columbia? We need you.
We should have done that years ago. So.
Oh, my God.
It's a little cooler here.
I am in such awe of real scientists and people that do such great work. I don't know if we can condense it quickly. Tell our listeners what you guys do.
Okay, so what we do is that the Australian Wine Research Institute is an organisation that is owned and funded by the Australian wine industry. And our only reason for existing is to service the industry. So if the industry has a problem, they have a challenge, they want to know something, they come to us.
Oh, my God. Can't you move to BC? So it's an older... How long has it been going now?
It's 60 years now.
60 years.
So
wow.
It's our 60th birthday.
And I'm guessing...
We're behind, aren't we?
Yeah, I'm guessing that there's no problem you've never seen, maybe.
Well, we've seen quite a few things, but... what keeps us going and the reason why we get out of bed, because there's always a new challenge and there's always something new to discover.
All right, so you brought us three different glasses today with some challenges in them.
That's right.
Why don't we talk about, because of course the number one question from our listeners when we talk about corked wine, well, there's no corked wine left, is there, in Australia?
No, we moved
because of the screw corks,
many years ago.
but you can still have it. Tell us about corked wine or TCA. How would you explain it to the average consumer?
Well, cork is...
that is just so...
It's a strong one.
Yeah.
It's a little bit strong.
It smells like the waterfall over the Pan Pacific.
Yeah,
full of
musty,
chlorine.
mouldy, sort of wet cardboard.
Yeah, exactly.
Not something you want in your wine.
So how does the wine become corked?
So how does the wine become corked? 15, 20 years ago, the Australian wine industry had a big problem with corks.
Yeah.
A lot of winemakers were saying, what is this character? We don't like it. How can we control it? Mm-hmm. So... in 1999, we started a big trial, and which was very groundbreaking at the time. So we had one wine, and we bottled it under 15 different closures. And what we found, and those closures were ranged from plastic, synthetic closures, through to cork, and through to screw cap.
Wow.
And so what we found after 18 months is that you could see visually differences in every bottle.
Wow.
And they tasted different, and they looked different. And that difference became more and more obvious with many years.
Yeah.
So it didn't take long for the whole industry to adapt.
No, and they saw those results and they said, we have to change. And because of the result, because of the work that we did and the results that we were able to find, the transition from cork to screw cap was a very, very straightforward one.
Okay, I got the $1 million question, because if the cork is perfect and you put it in the wine, doesn't the wine still taste a bit of having a cork in it?
Well, if the cork,
it's not a neutral thing.
Yeah, if the cork is perfect, it's a question of numbers, because there's only so many corks that are actually perfect, because it's a natural product.
So the taste of Bordeaux is really the taste of cork.
No, we wouldn't go.
You wouldn't go that
far,
but it's interesting.
Yeah, and one of the things is people say that there's no such thing as a great old wine. There's a great old bottle. So that's partly because of the variability in cork.
And the cork, yeah.
So some of them will let a lot of oxygen through, some very little. Some will give this cork taint character.
So you guys are fans of screw cap?
Definitely.
And there's been developments in screw cap to allow more air in or out of the bottle, that sort of thing.
Yeah. So there's a lot more now. There's a lot more customizing in terms of the closures. In terms of the closures that you can buy.
So depending on the variety and how long someone may want to age the wine, you can control that.
Exactly.
Is that working well?
Yeah.
Look at
and
art. Yes, they're saying yes.
Definitely.
Nobody believes me when I talk about this stuff.
And we continue to do these sort of studies where we're comparing different closures.
Yeah. Well, cork, it's maybe not so easy, but a lot of consumers have that wine and say, wow, I don't like that wine. They never have it again.
That's right.
So eliminating that is a great thing.
That's right.
Brettanomyces is a whole other ball game.
Yeah.
They hear, Casey, you hear us talk about Brett, but really...
I do.
But you should smell it. Tell us a bit about Brettanomyces. What is it and why is it in wine?
Sorry, can I take...
So the wine that Casey is looking at, you'll notice that it's got a very, very Band-Aid character.
Band-Aid, yes.
Some people call it horsey.
Yeah.
Some people call it leathery. So there is all of those descriptors, fit into what is considered as Brett.
And some people like it.
Yes, I have to be very careful what I say here, but...
This is great Band-Aid. Yeah, very good.
But when people like it because they don't understand it or they don't compare it to what a wine actually should be.
Yeah.
I mean, winemakers should be making wine that is reflective of the grapes and the wine, and not reflective of what is considered a fault. And it's a basic fault, and it's a fault through what we consider to be unwise or poor winemaking.
Yeah. Cleanliness
in oak barrels particularly. So it's a particular sort of yeast that will grow within the oak barrel.
Any oak barrel or old oak barrels or
new, old, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They all have the same problem. In fact, with new barrels, it's probably you got a higher probability of picking up with Brett.
But is it a wood thing? Like, can it be in pallets like maybe TCA or no? It can only be in those barrels.
No.
Yeah, it needs to live on that.
It needs to be in moist conditions.
Yeah.
It's actually a yeast that would grow in the forest floor. You can sometimes smell it if you're going on a walk in the forest.
So eliminating Brett is something it's special in Australia. People don't want it in their wine because it affects the flavor of the wine.
That's right. When we have done consumer testing in Australia and elsewhere, and any time there's a Brett, even a low level of this Brett character, consumers just definitely don't like it.
And you would describe it as something that knocks down the fruit in the wine, or what does it do to the wine?
It kills everything.
Yeah. Okay.
It's very unsympathetic as a character.
Yeah.
It really it kills the fruit. It kills any kind of individuality that wine may have.
Okay.
The palate. It's some people confuse it with acidity or tannins, but it's in fact it's a metallic character, and it's a very harsh, unattractive character. And as the wine sits in the glass, and as you consume the wine, it gets more and more obvious.
And in the bottle over 20 years, it gets worse.
It gets worse,
right?
yes,
so if you got a little Brett in 1990, it's going to be a lot worse in 2020.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
So that's my fear of a lot of the wines in my cellar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you should drink them as soon as you can.
Yeah.
Or
totally.
auction them. Or
auction them. That's what I say.
That's
auction
a good
them.
idea.
Yeah. Those poor bastards.
I want you to ask Tony the climate question.
Sorry, the climate question?
Yes, that you asked me earlier in the day.
Well, he's thinking about the millions of people he's spoken to since you, Casey.
Yes.
Well, I mean, our climate is changing. I mean, we see that.
Yeah, you asked me, is it changing?
The climate,
Totally.
Is the climate changing here?
Yeah, of course it is. Are you kidding? It's changing all the time. It's not raining.
Yeah.
It should be raining all this month, and it's not.
That's right. So what are you doing? Are you doing research into that?
We do some research into climate, but what we see is that we have seen a lot of changes, certainly in the time that I have been in the industry, and certainly in the last 10 years that I've been with the Institute. We have seen a predominance to warmer years. We have seen rainfall become less and less in the winter months.
Yeah.
Sometimes you see a lot more variability, so you'll see, for example, in Australia in 2011 we had the wettest year ever. In 2009 we had 14 days above 90 Fahrenheit or 36 centigrade.
In Europe, there's super early springs now, so there's a lot of exposure to frost and stuff happening. Yeah, it's changing.
So what would you recommend to somebody who's thinking about 50 years down the road with climate?
Well, I think they're going to have to think very carefully because, I mean, what we're seeing, and I think even speaking to some of the local winemakers here, they're saying winemaking is actually moving north.
Yeah.
And in Australia, we're seeing a trend where people are saying, well, we don't know what's going to happen in 30 or 40 or 50 years' time, but maybe we should start moving to cooler climates.
Yeah, we're seeing the new Napa's the Okanagan, so we'll see how that works out. Let's go to positive stuff for a second. You brought a glass of pepper over here.
So that's right.
Did you grind it freshly in there? Or why did you bring this glass of pepper?
So this particular character is something you'll see quite commonly in Shiraz.
Yeah.
Australia is very well known for Shiraz, and some of the cooler regions in Australia will have this distinctive black pepper, or some people would say white pepper character.
Yeah.
You see it in some French vineyards too.
I would say it was a Rhone character.
That's right. So some Rhone ones for sure.
It's fantastic. Is this an actual wine or just a...
This is an addition of the actual chemical compound to the real to a wine.
So the Australian Wine Research Institute obviously does a number of things. I ran into it years ago. Do you still check every wine that's exported out of the country?
We do, from a chemical point of view.
Yeah, and certify it as good or
That's
bad?
right.
Or
We have a certified lab, and it has to be an export certificate to guarantee that it's of good quality.
Are you well funded?
We're funded, but
not well funded. You could use more dough.
Well,
by wineries or by the government?
No, by the wineries, I think.
Well, there is in Australia we have a unique system. It's a levy-based system.
Yeah.
So for every ton of grapes that's produced and it goes to winemaking, there is a levy attached to that, and that's collected. Those funds are collected by the federal government, and which in turn supports R&D funding right across the nation.
Wow!
Through a body called AGWA, which Australian Grape and Wine Authority.
You guys are having fun, I think. Huh?
Yeah, we are. It's great.
And are you guys? So, do you have a favorite wine? Do you get that deep? Do you have a favorite wine in Australia, or a winery, or what kind of wines are you guys like to drink when you're not working and testing?
Well, over the last few days, we've tried to drink as many Canadian wines as possible.
Okay. Did you find any faults?
Oh, no, the
we
wines.
didn't.
Not too many faults?
Yeah, very
That's good.
clean wines. Very good ones.
Yeah, we're working on it.
Yeah. But I particularly like Pinot Noir, I guess, as an Australian Pinot Noir.
The toe puddle's pretty good.
It's very good. Tasmanian.
Wow.
Very
Delicious.
good wines from there.
Yeah. And you guys are based in Adelaide, or?
That's right.
Yeah. Well, welcome to Vancouver.
Thank you. It's great
Thanks
to be
for
here.
coming by with these fantastic samples.
Good things to smell.
Oh my God! I need every som in town to smell that. It's such a great thing. So
right.
instructive.
We've got a booth where there's a lot more of those sort of smells.
So our listeners who are coming in tonight or tomorrow night should go by the booth and check out what's going on at the Australian Wine Research Institute. It's fascinating. There's so many angles to wine which make it so much fun.
That's right.
Thanks, guys.
Very
All
good.
right, thank you.
Great to have you. leighFrancis, Chief Sensory Scientist, CosSimos Group Manager from the Australian Wine Research Institute. We will take a quick break. We're going to do some research between the break on pepper, Casey. Maybe we'll try a little pepper here.
Okay, I think we should give these glasses back as soon as possible.
We'll be right back. You're listening to AM 650's Best of Food and Wine live from the floor of the Vancouver International Wine Festival.
There's lots more still ahead. Live from the 2015 Vancouver International Wine Festival, this is Tony and Casey's Best of Food and Wine on CIL 650.